All right. What's up, everybody? We are live. I see a lot of people waiting in the chat. Nice to see everybody. I got my good friend Cappy here, and
Morning. Morning.
yeah, we're gonna just bullshit here. We're gonna talk about Roe v. Wade, I guess, because it's trending. But honestly, don't care.
It could be I'm not joking. This could be a 15-minute conversation because
Yep.
I think that's the understated silent majority of opinion. Nobody cares.
Nobody
These
cares. I
women
think.
have been bitching and whining for 50 fucking years, and y- I think we're just like, yeah, we are so exhausted on this. So
Yeah.
what's it
I
now,
know.
sweetheart? What's the problem now, my darling?
Yeah.
Oh, the car needs an oil. Yes, I'll get right. Oh, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, and so there's a lot of thoughts. I'm not that conspiratorial. I think that things just happened and that then politicians go, "Oh, cool, how can I use this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Expand or, expand something if they can and make it bigger than it has to be or smaller than it has to be." I don't know what sparked the Roe v. Wade debate now all of a sudden, like what
It was
sudden.
a case in Mississippi, I believe, that then. And I'm not an expert on judicial law, but it sent the challenge to this. So now they had to review it, I guess, and here we are. So I'm sure if we cared, Paul, if we cared, we could look it up. But I just want to emphasize again how little we and probably most of the American public care. So I think it was not conspiratorial. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to get this in front of the Supreme Court and then we're going to gin up female support for the Democrat Party because Biden is just like a turd with legs.
Yeah.
I think there was a court case through the natural process of the legal system that now the Supreme Court had to take a look at it. And I didn't think I'd see it in my lifetime, but man, it's good television. It's a good show, isn't it, Paul?
Absolutely. Well, I look at it again. The reason I don't care is because the states have the rights to do that, and if one state decides to restrict, I mean, a woman can go to another state to get it. Doesn't make it more inconvenient for her or more
Yes.
difficult. Yes. Should it be maybe a little inconvenient though right now? I feel like maybe it should be because I think that it used to be seen as a big decision. And I used to be kind of like really on the side of more of a choice side of it because I'm not into the government telling people what they can do with their bodies. And I understand that thing. But then it used to be legal, safe, and rare was the argument. And now it's like abortions are treated like, birth control for some
Badge
people.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and I'm proud of it. I did this. It's like, dude, that has a lot of psychological consequences as well as physical ones for women. And there are women that think, I mean, anybody could, get indoctrinated into an idea, make a decision based off that, and then regret it. And I know a lot of people who have, they're having birthdays for the child that they would have
The
had.
abort.
Yeah, and feeling really bad about that. And I just think that, again, it's got to be a decision that's taken a little bit more seriously than it is.
Well, there's the two main things because I'm very hands off. Kind of like what was it, Herod or some biblical? What, you want to kill the guy? Go ahead. It's not blood on
Yeah.
my hands. Like and I had it shoved in my face early on enough where I'm like, yeah, you know what? If you want to arguably murder babies, you know what? Fine, you could sleep with your son because I really don't care. But
Right.
the what also kind of perturbs me a little bit, aside from the fact I think we can agree that abortion is disgusting, whether you are pro-choice or not. It should be
Sure.
exceptional. It should be rare. It should da 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 da. And you're a fucking psychopath if you're proud and like you're jerking off about it. And this
Yeah.
is like the most, especially I get a kick out of all the fat chicks who are like, oh, my right to it. But it's like, dude, ain't no guy get one past the goalie past your fupa. All right. Ain't going to happen. But aside from that, it being a religious problem or religious mental illness, no one understands the 10th Amendment. No one understands states' rights. And
Yeah,
I
right.
guarantee you, Paul, and here's why I just don't have the patience for it. Every single one of the women and the men out there who are screaming bloody murder are all for states having gun rights or gun laws. They all want gun laws. They want gun restrictions, and they want it to be up. And they're all cheering on that. And there's a much larger principle at stake here, and that is states' rights, which is what the country was founded on. It was the great American experiment. You want to try socialism, California? Knock yourselves out. Oh, look, adult Democrats shitting in the street with heroin needles in their arms. I wonder who saw that coming. You want to try capitalism and true America? Go Texas. You want to be, I don't know, you like maple syrup and you're all kind of femmy? Go be Vermont. I mean, we can have all the different things that you could try it. And then if you didn't like things, you could go to the other states and you could find your people. And maybe we just haven't done a good enough job selling feminists, but in general, leftists, the idea of states' rights, where it's like, look, you can have your socialist utopia, go to California. But I think you see the true ignorance of everyone here, where it's like, I can't get an abortion. It's like, no. That's not how it works. You may just have to cross state lines. And then you see the true petulant, childish nature. It's like, oh, I got to go across state lines, or I got to, and what wasn't Canada, to show you their ignorance, like, we'll allow you to have abortions. Like, fine, here, we'll send busloads up. But I think that's where people are exhausted and they have no patience for this debate or care, because everyone's so damn ignorant about it who's raising up a stink about it now.
Right. Well, in my, my thing, it's like, I can't care about something that I have no authority, or I have no authority over, but would be expected to have all the responsibility of if I was in that situation. And anytime you put somebody in a position to have the responsibility and consequences of something without any authority or choice with that thing, then that is basically a slavery sort of a situation.
Right.
And that's where men get placed in. A woman can choose to get pregnant or not. She could, we could say pregnancy rape, in a sense, where she gets herself pregnant, says, hey, I'm on birth control or this and that and the other. And she gets pregnant and she says, okay, well, now I'm having the baby and you're going to pay for it and all this stuff. And, consent to sex is not the same as consent to having a baby. Especially if someone's, lied to or deceived or whatever in order to have that. But that's why guys need to, of course, be smart, strap up, or as you said, get fixed. That's more of a permanent solution, more or less. I know you can reverse it, but that's more of a medical solution that might be a bigger decision for a guy. But if you're not going to do that, then strap something up and protect yourself. Because if she gets pregnant and she's a crappy person, she's not giving you a choice. And that, sorry, is unfair. I know it's in her body, but he should have a say if he's going to have to take care of it.
Right.
Now, if we arranged it where she could have 100% of the authority, which she has, but then if she chooses to have the baby, she has 100% of the responsibility. The guy has a choice to sign his name on that birth cert. If he signs his name on the birth cert because he wants to be dad, then he's on the financial hook and all that stuff. If he doesn't want to do that, then he doesn't have to do that. Now, I would sign my name. Like, I'm not for guys not taking care of a child.
Right. But you're responsible.
Right.
You're ethical. Right.
Yeah. I'm just not for forcing people, what I mean, to do things. And that's what we're putting people in this position. And it leads to a lot of toxic situations, domestic violence, toxic parenting, all kinds of problems, And so it's not a good scenario. And so if a guy can't say, like, no, you're not aborting it, I want to be a dad, or yes, or I think you should, or if you have it, I'm not going to take care of it. Like, he has no say, then really it's not something I can take seriously, because people are crying about rights, but then don't care about the rights of the other gender. Well,
right. And I think, I think this is where women over, I'd say, past 4 decades have lost any kind of goodwill, and men have become apathetic towards, because we could talk about, if then statements and apply logic and morals and ethics. And, well, if the man doesn't want anything, you should raise it. But if he did, dude, women have been not negotiating with intellectual honesty on this topic. Generally, I know there's
not all, of course, but the ones on the internet that we see, that's for sure.
The lack of intellectual honesty has made it that people they're made people very apathetic to this, where you can have people like me, where I'm not only am I pro-choice, I've gone on record saying I'm pro-abortion because I have a different angle where I don't think kids should be brought up in horrific and what I would say abusive environments where the parents aren't together.
Yeah.
But not my point. I'm like, I am pro-choice. You should have the right. I would even have federally funded. But by God, it's fun watching all these feminists get pissed off because you've been acting like petulant little fucking spoiled children this entire time. And yeah, okay. I mean, on principle, and I understand if it was law, President Cappy, yes. But it's kind of eating popcorn right now, and it's like, all right, go get pissed off.
Yeah, like I have absolutely no control over it, so that's what about. Why do I care? I feel like people are having their emotions leveraged for the election, quite personally.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so we'll create a divisive situation where, oh my God, we're rewinding it back to the Middle Ages. Better vote for a Democrat now. Like,
yeah,
okay.
that'll help. Hey,
Hi,
speaking
Ryan.
of apathetic people.
Hey, Ryan, how much do you give a fuck,
dude?
about this?
You know what? Here's the angle for you. This is what makes me laugh. Canada's had their little like gun restriction thing just kick in, and a bunch of people are pissed off about it. And they're like, "Look at these guys thinking they're Americans with the Second Amendment. You don't have a Second Amendment." And now they're sitting here bitching about Roe versus Wade. The Prime Minister's making an address. I'm like, hey, what happened to that? We're not the 51st state shit,
Right. Only when it's convenient for them,
It's just, I don't know what it is, man. North of the border, there's this weird group of people that accuse everybody of wanting to be Americans and then get outraged over American shit. Like, do you know there was a Trump protest outside my building in 2016?
You mentioned that. Well, I remember something you saying that a while ago.
Yeah, there's people right now pissed off about abortion and Roe versus Wade in downtown Toronto. I'm like, really? Is marketing the best from a marketing standpoint? It's fascinating.
Right.
Ukraine is my brother. The American Republicans are evil villains, and it's like none of this shit's affecting you, but you're literally screwing over your life by getting wound up over it. People are like getting fired from jobs. I'm like, I don't know how to explain it.
Isn't it beautiful? It's just wonderful to watch. Like, and that's outside the United States. I'm excited to see all the fat ugly chicks who aren't going to have sex anyway. Protest. That's
I have noticed that hot chicks don't seem to be in this abortion debate. You are right there.
Not, yeah, but
at least they're not showing up on the on the pictures. That's for sure. For the protest.
It shows you. This goes beyond. There's no intellectual honesty on this discussion.
No, there isn't. That's why
it is a religion. It is a cult. It is something that gives these worthless people meaning and value. Because isn't it nice in Toronto? Is it a nice summer day in Toronto?
Dude, it's wonderful. I'm dressed like, remember Running Man where he went to the airport? I'm dressed like that. I got like white pants on right now. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Why
Miami Vice over here.
Yeah, why are they wasting their day? Man, you got to have nothing going on in your life, and you got to be filled with hate to be protesting or sympathetic protests. I
think it's people are bored and they need some excitement.
Well, it is Canada. I mean,
yeah.
For sure.
Nobody here murdering anybody. We had like 2 murders this year and people are talking about the crime problem. Like Chicago laughs like that was 12-15.
Dude, that's no joke. Chicago is probably the worst city right now. Let me get
Dude, I love that when they laugh about how it was worse than Iraq during the war. They call it Chirac. Clever.
Yeah, I know, right.
Maybe we can just like rephrase that as like a 500th term abortion, and then everybody will start caring about it.
Oh yeah.
The kid was 16. That's like the worst late case abortion I've ever seen in my life.
Hey, no, you just gotta say thanks, Thor. That's $20, man. You gotta,
I know. Thor's the man, dude. I appreciate you, bro. I like Thor a lot. We're like brothers from across the country here. He's a good guy, man. If you we'll go next guy here. This guy's a good guy too. I like his podcast.
Paul's coming to visit me.
Oh, is he really? Nice. Yeah, I always have a good time on his show. He's got good topics. So if you guys haven't got on the Come On Man podcast, he's got good interviews on there.
Yeah, see, read his comment. That's exactly it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Some dude melted down in my IG comments about it, talking about how this promotes grape. Okay.
Exactly.
It's just,
how? How? Wait.
I get the argument. It's a cudgel. They use this as an attack point. Rollo did the numbers, and nobody cares about stats where it's like, what, 1%? Less than 1%. It's a rounding error of people that is affected by it that are grapists. But everybody's going to use it. But then I'm like,
right.
Imagine arguing with your wife over some shit that makes no sense and then like seriously getting mad that she won't see your reasonable, logical, like, what do you expect? You got a chick that's pissed off about some random emotional shit from the wrong country. And you're like, let me show you some statistics on this. Ben Shapiro taught me the way. Like, fuck off.
Right.
You deserve it. You deserve this whole argument. You guys taking it seriously.
Yeah. Well, it's like when you, I mean, because if you say, okay, well, then 100% rights for anyone who with a part of the grape category, but then everyone else has restrictions to protect the life of the child.
They get mad that you're ignoring the
they get
script. It's like,
mad.
no, that's how this goes.
That's right. It's like, wait a second. I thought your what if in the case of scenario was your big deal, right? Like, all right, so medical grape covered. You can have that happen anytime you want. Everybody else has restrictions. How about that? Nope,
Yeah.
not okay.
No.
You see what I mean? And so what it boils down to is and this is getting into instincts too. I mean, I hate to say it, but women instinctually want the right to kill their kids. Sorry, it's a fact. They're not going to do it. It's not like they want to do it, but infanticide has been going on since we've been a species. Happens in the animal kingdom when there's a survival threat and they feel that those babies maybe are not the most survivable babies that they could have had. You know,
and you know what?
Abandonment and death on the kid while the kid's alive. And there's been also, you know, a self-abortion, stuff like that. Yeah. So anyway.
And a lot of people didn't like it, but you know what? They're like, my body, my choice. And you're like, you know what? That's fine. I don't agree with it, but I'm a libertarian at heart. You do you and I'll do me. Just don't force it down my throat. Then COVID came and they're like, by the way, you got to take all this stuff or you're fired and get out of my life and die in a ditch.
Right.
So, and then nobody draws that connection where like, I was arguing for my body, my choice back before it was cool. It's like, okay, the one time that all these people were like, fine, have your abortions, leave me do me. And they're like, no, take these vaccines. And now it's like, it's not about the vaccines. It's about, wait. So my body is not my choice. It's my choice unless it doesn't matter to you. And now they're like, and you notice that right after the mandate thing kind of happened, everybody's like, all right, fine. State gets to decide. Let's start using this cudgel for our own. And they're like, wait a minute. You can't use this same shit. I'm only supposed to use it. You're not supposed to use it on things that I don't like. And everybody's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yep.
Go ahead. My body, my choice, remember?
Well, you will find out. Let's say, and here's where I think if we were to diagnose what's really going on, to get to the genetics or the genes of it. Let's say you gave them all the rights, federally funded, no questions asked, abortion at any time. The kid's head could be out of the hoo-ha, like mid-birthing abortions, whatever.
Like a
post-birth abortions
what
up
the
to
fuck?
age 5,
you know
up to age 30.
Hey, here's what it is. You get to take the car out with a 1-year warranty. If you don't like it, you could even kill the kid before a year. Guess what? They'll still bitch and whine and try and find some other thing. And that's where I would say it's, and I don't know, Paul, you're more psychologically trained than I am. What is it where it's like an addiction or a mental problem where it's a flaw or a mental fissure, something I'm describing it very poorly.
I don't know.
Where they cannot, it will never end because it's
They're
not
mentally
about
bad in the head.
Yeah,
They're
man,
stupid.
Yeah,
But
nobody's
it
ever
goes-
happy.
Stupidity.
They're never
Want to be
happy.
miserable.
Right. And so you can give them
sure.
everything. They're still going to complain about it because
I
that's
know
what
what you
gives
mean.
them value. That's why those
Yeah.
fucking worthless people in Toronto are protesting. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
they have negative
There's-
mental loops.
And so
That's
my
what it
question,
boils
this is
down
the real threat, is like, when does it end? Because what gets these people off, what gives them value is being
Right.
tyrants over other people. There's always a new crusader. I'll give you another example. Like now, many years ago in Rapid City, having a cigar, and here was this washed up boomer bitch, and she had no hair because she had cancer and she was treated. And they were trying to like stop, I think even back then it was the XL Keystone pipeline or whatever. And she was talking to her beta husband or whatever. Yeah, we got it. And now on to this. And I looked at her. I'm like, all you did was make a bunch of people unemployed. What's next? And that's the thing. They have to move on to some other fucking thing that they can jerk off to, so that
outrage. They have to be outraged about
outrage.
something.
But why do they choose tyranny? And at this point, it doesn't matter why they choose to restrict other people's rights, but they do. And you could give them everything, they will still bitch and whine because that's who they are. And so that's the real dangerous part here. Now, I like to see it going back where, again, I'm pro-choice, But damn, am I laughing my ass off that 50 years is just thrown out the window and all that activism and it's just been wasted, and you can still get the abortions, but like all these ladies just like where their entire it's like Jesus didn't come, like
Right.
they found out proof that Jesus
God.
wasn't real and that Vishnu is the guy, and it's just like, man, you just wasted your entire life. So I'm happy to see that. But that's what we're fucking dealing with. We're dealing with these fucking Nazis, these fucking people who like, I don't know, they can't just go be a sandwich artist or be a wife or a mom. They got to fucking lord of control over other people. And I'm just happy as fuck to see it. Like, no, we're scrolling this back. I think that sentiment is kind of shared with everyone.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. John, what's up, man? I muted you because you're throwing ice everywhere. What's up?
It wasn't me, that was her. But yeah, she was prepping me my drink. No,
that's all right.
Yeah, no, I just me. I'm in tropical paradise in Japan, and I just love watching America burn from afar. It's just nothing but a smile on my face. I mean, this is the best time in the world for me to be abroad in a beautiful place. Not a fat woman in sight.
I was about to say.
Yeah, and the thing is this, right? This is what I would just tell the guys, just applicable use. Anybody now that you see that is upset about Roe v. Wade, okay, whether it be digitally or in real life, unfollow them, mute them, block them if you need to block them. But these are just indicators of people you don't need in your life. If success is the thing you want to do and having peace of mind, because really it's a trivial thing, quite frankly. I mean, how you got to think about this, really. We all have had unprotected sex here, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah.
And
I've never had it.
I just had some about 10 minutes ago. And it's pretty hard to get a girl pregnant. Like, unless she is like 18 to 22 and you're unloading a full load inside of her on top of hitting that proper ovulation window, it's really hard to get a girl pregnant. So these girls
people try all the time, and they have to keep trying. You got a 20% chance when she's she's ovulating. That's, I think, where it's at, depending on the person and obviously her fertility, your fertility, and all that.
Absolutely. And so what these girls are just showing to the world is like how big of a whore they really are. And so, I mean, I just think that it's just women not really wanting to take responsibility for their actions.
No, never want to do that. Yeah.
And they need anything really to get a rise out of them. I also kind of think that, I don't know, this is kind of conspiracy theorist-ish, but I do think that this is kind of like,
I know where you're going to go with this. I know.
Planned to an extent to like get women. I don't think women are going to protest and take to the streets because they're lazy, and the type of chicks that are into this kind of stuff are 200 pounds plus. So like any kind of walking or protesting or anything.
Well, they'll do it to get attention though, and then they won't though, because they're doing it now though. Well, they're doing it now though.
They are, but how many how many are out front of the Dexys thing? Like just a couple hundred.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's true.
These are the same chicks that cared about Ukraine 2 months ago.
No, it's what Cappy was saying, and I agree. They're addicted to having to fight against something. And this is an interesting thing. When you're not accomplishing something in your own life, people will focus on things they can't control and make that their cause. People have to have a cause of something that they can't really control, they don't really influence, because then they get to feel better about themselves and get all those little dopamine hits that they're making a difference in doing something. Meanwhile, their own life, they're not actually doing shit. If they would work on their own lives, that would require them to face their failures and face the mistakes they've made and either change them or at least realize that they're not all that awesome. But instead of doing that, it's cognitive dissonance, and they're going to take a cause on, and the reason why the world's so broken is because of this. No, the reason why the world's so broken is because of people like that and not working on their own lives, not working on being better people and influencing others in a better way.
It's proven, because if you look at them, there's very few good looking gals. They're all I sent a tweet to you guys. I mean, go click on, they're twerking for abortion rights. It's just a bunch of fat, tatted up girls shaking their asses. I'm like, you look like a bunch of fucking animals. Your
Yeah,
your,
And the-
your
and the
optics
lo-
and your PR is horrible. Let me ask this. Would you be a little bit more sympathetic if women had shame in getting an abortion? Like, I kind of like, let's say you drive drunk, okay? Or, oh, I really shouldn't have done that. Or you went off on somebody. Like, oh, I should have been like, you have a little bit of shame. That's wrong of me. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
It's like, look, ladies, you know what? I
and that's why I
know-
can't take the cause seriously.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like,
yeah.
be a little bit diplomatic, be a little bit presentable. But if I see a bunch of
Yeah.
fucking animals shaking their asses out, acting like it's just disgusting. It's like, get out of here. I just can't take it
Yeah.
seriously.
And
Well,
the thing
and
is
it's-
this too,
it's-
like the girls that are doing this, they're losers. Like, I don't have time to go out and protest. I got shit to do. You know,
Right.
Cappy's building his retainer wall. I gotta friggin'
I'm done.
continue to keep growing my business. You know, I have the crypto mindset course, all that stuff coming up. I gotta go back out to Miami. I don't have time to like pick up a piece of poster and be like, oh, government, why don't you love me? That's the biggest
Yeah.
ruse that these idiots all are falling for. They think the government cares about them. I think the biggest moron of them all is our favorite idiot in Canada, Justin Trudeau, tweeting out like, oh, this bodily autonomy thing would never happen in Canada. Meanwhile, they're like taking people's jobs away, locking them into the country if they didn't inject themselves with an experimental chemical. So you got to just
Yeah.
look at the whole clown world as it is and just
Yeah.
focus on yourself. Money Muscles Game Frame, identify toxic people, cut them out of your life, use this as an indicator of who you really need to cut out of your life and move forward. And because this kind of stuff, you're putting this kind of nonsense in your mind, it's poisoning the well and it's just going to make you upset.
Let me echo this, then I have to
Yeah.
go out with my girlfriend because I'm a
Aw.
hypocrite. Oh, yeah. Guess
Aw.
where? Okay, Ryan, I'll give you two guesses to guess where we're going.
Perkins.
Nope.
Oh, are you going to that pawn shop in Deadwood?
No, we're going to the
Pokeball.
farmer's market.
Are you going to
BDSM
Farmer's market.
afternoon
No.
BDSM party.
Look
with
at what a
boomers.
beta bitch boyfriend I am. We're going to go to the farmer's market. That's how.
Oh,
Oh,
That's cool.
dude, $8
Yeah.
carrots are fucking
Yeah,
carrots, but whatever.
I'm going. I'm not participating.
Get the
real quick-
blowjob before you go, because it's not coming after. I'll tell you that
are you,
right now.
you going to protest?
No.
$8
Uh,
carrots.
I'll just leave with this, and echoing John's sentiment that this is not a burger. This is not our problem. Not our monkeys. Not our circus. Whatever kind of thing. For all you young boys out there and older men, you know what? Just get a vasectomy and this all goes away. And if you really want to, like, but I may want to have kids, dude, jerk off into a cup, go pay the extra money to have it stored at 2 different sperm bank places because the electricity goes out, and just be done with this. Just, it is there is a solution. Now, John's, of course, is non-participation, moved to a culture where this is not an issue. And I agree. But if you're here, just get a vasectomy.
And become a millionaire.
Okay, if you become an Indian, but otherwise, just be done with it and enjoy your life, and then let these veritable shrews be miserable for the rest of their life.
You can't
I'll
stop
see you
it. They're going
guys.
to
I
be
gotta
miserable whether
go,
you
all
want
right?
them
All
to or
right.
not.
Hey, man, thanks for coming on, dude. It's always
All right.
great seeing you.
Hey guys.
All right, brother.
Sleep
Later.
happy.
Oh, so I mentioned to the audience here, this is also a Ask Us Anything. Why? Because I don't feel like there's a whole lot to talk about. We still got about an hour. I'm shutting down at 1. So you guys can ask us anything in the chats, and we will put our brains together here and talk about it. Yeah.
And here, I could fill you with a good point on this. I
Yeah.
briefly talked about it for some clickbait at the start of mine, and there was a neat point about the marketing of it. Like, I've noticed that everybody who's talking about how great abortion is online is guys. And I think guys like abortions. I don't care who you are. Unless you, like, really want to be a dad and the wife doesn't want you to. Guys like it. Anybody who's ever slept with, like, a girl who was 19 and had a scare, you fucking become a huge fan of it. And don't tell me this. Jesus. How many preachers, how many pastors have you seen? They're like, pro-life. And then the instant their daughter gets pregnant, like, well, except for this is an exception. God gave me a hall pass for this. So there's this underground thing where everybody wants it and everybody likes it. But the fight is over fat, unattractive people versus ugly, unattractive men. And we're all being dragged into it. Like, I need to give a strong opinion.
Yeah.
But that's marketing. You know what I mean?
there's one
You're made to
wizard-
emotionally appeal to it. Yeah. And then you're going to sell your Gumroad course at the end of it. Some, like, alpha male war room fantasy thing. It's like, I hate abortions. By the way, you guys need to join this club. It's like, fuck, I don't. I'm not going to join the liminal order. because you hate abortions? You don't even hate
No.
abortions. You got 6 of them.
Yeah,
Dump
I'll
her.
say you guys. Yeah, right. So that's an answer. I would say you guys got a question though too, and you want to make sure I don't miss it. Throw it in a small super. I'm not asking. It's just so I can see what's going on, and it does help
That's
the
funny.
algorithms too.
Dude,
But
man,
yeah,
I
so
already
how
got
do you
that.
deal
Just start
with a
chasing
girlfriend?
around the house with your dick, man, and like, I'm pregnant. Run around like a Benny Hill sketch.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, it depends on why she's losing it, but I mean, really, because but really, it's like that's a big red flag, and you
Yeah.
need to really consider that relationship. But what I would do is use my acronym that I've been telling people about, which is called LUCA, which is listen to the words she's saying. U is understand. So try to understand not just what she's saying, but what she's not saying, her perspective, and why she's saying it. Empathetically, try to get it. C is seek clarity, which is asking clarity questions, repeating back what she says, so and she knows that you understand it. And also, if there's something like wrong or whatever, ask questions and maybe to get her to challenge herself a little bit, right? And then A is just action plan. Here's what we're going to do, because explanations don't work too well. All right. Now, if she's seeking an explanation, that's a little different. That's going to be part of your action plan. But otherwise, hey, well, here's what we're going to do. But use that little acronym and listen to her, figure out why she's freaking out over it. And you may find out why there's a bunch of red flags there and maybe why she shouldn't be your girlfriend most of the time, And so that's my actionable on that.
Yeah. And again, this is like going back to what I said earlier too. Look, this is a massive red flag. Like this is a massive problem, because if your girlfriend is that dumb to get upset over this kind of stuff, that means you don't have as much frame in that relationship that you think you do. Because she should already know. She should look at you and roll her eyes and be like, honey, they're at it again. If you're really got that woman in your frame. And this is a clear indicator that you don't have her in her frame. And also, it's a liability to you. Your girl shouldn't be running around about political issues and freaking out. Look, these are the same dumb bitches that were protesting in the street in the summer of 2020 with the Black Lives Matter riots, which were 2 months before we were telling people you need to put on the mask, you need to stay home. Then they're out tearing up shit because in the name of black people. Now Trump's a racist, right? Okay, the election was totally legit. Now back to vaccines. Now you got to start vaccine shaming people. And then now it was Putin's a bad guy. And now Ukraine, pray for Ukraine, put yellow and blue all over my face and my tits. And now abortion rights. So the mainstream media and the powers that be have your woman's mind. You don't. That's a massive, massive, massive red flag. Especially if you're a fan of Paul and you're watching on his channel. That's what he says is the number one important thing for you to have in a relationship. It's frame, and this is a clear indicator that you don't have the frame you think you have.
Right. It's a very good point. Very good point. Getting into, so people are asking about the influx of female red pill YouTubers, and wanted to know our opinions on that. So I don't know. What are you guys' opinions on that? I don't know. I haven't really thought about
you can't. It's trash. Like I support Allie, Real Femme Sapien, because she's not a female red pill YouTuber. She's coaching other women. She's like, hey, stop being a slut. I was a slut. It didn't work out. Now I'm a housewife. I stay at home. My husband's rich. Life is good. Have babies. She was pregnant about 3 months ago, but unfortunately she had a miscarriage. She was publicly speaking about this, and she's still young. She's 27. She's a really smart girl. Have nothing but great things to say about her. But other than that, like chicks who are talking red pill, it's like that's the equivalent of a male feminist, and it's just laughable. Like I'm not going to take advice from some chick on how to fuck her and catch her. I mean, it's really, they're just clout chasers. That's all they are. Bottom line.
Yeah. Well, it goes into female.
Well, do you remember
pickup
back when,
artists,
like,
too.
remember when bikes were the coolest shit, and then girls were like, I want a bike too, and they wore pants and put on top hats and did silent films where they pretended to have mustaches? That's just what I look at here. I'm like, that's fucking cool. Like, I'm not gonna take it seriously, but whatever. You want to ride your bike, you fill your boots. I ain't going to the park with you. Whatever.
Well, I will say I like that there's an opening up of conversations, and it's not just among women, but among mainstream stuff. Like Rolo's out. He's probably not going to, he may visit us, but he's out with George Gammon, I think, and Rebel Capitalist. He's jumping on different mainstream, more or less, podcasts talking about some of these issues, which then I like that. And when women want to sort of talk about it too, in a somewhat favorable way, we could say I think that stuff is a good thing, because we get, demonized like we're these terrible, horrible people by the mainstream world. A lot of us do anyway. A lot of the and there's a lot of reasons for that, which are reasonable, because you got the incel crowd and the really extreme black pill, really extreme, extremists on YouTube that we get lumped in with and stuff like that. But it's like, if we can break this gynocentric paradigm a little bit, just bits and pieces and pockets, I don't see that as a bad thing. And so women want to jump on, and even if it's just their personal motivation is clout and bullshit and trying to get attention, that's fine. Like at the end of the day, it adds up to a diversity of opinion out there that's outside of this paradigm that enslaves men and creates terrible relationships for both men and women. And so even if what they say is bullshit, if it gets them to go, okay, I think she's full of shit, but you know what? I'm questioning now the paradigm. And then they start looking around and searching for answers. Hey, that's not so bad. And more women that are sort of outside of the paradigm, the more women that are going to be more susceptible to falling into better models for relationships than what the model that's being presented now, which is my
biggest problem with it is, like, some of these red pill female content creators are the very women we talk about who have red flags all over them, and we're like, oh, she's red pill, like, let's support her. It's like the equivalent of a girl just being a regular girl. Then she puts on a MAGA hat and everybody's like, oh my God, conservative. Like, I want to fucking marry her. She's a Republican. Wow, she must have great morals and values. And
I got to, oh, sorry. I got to just, real quick. I didn't mean to interrupt you here, but okay. So I want to just look at this here for a second. So here, man, let me tell you something, Joe. What I want is you to be happy, bro. I want you to be happy with yourself, to be content with your life, and to be doing well. That's all I actually care about. You don't have to do what I do. You don't have to do what Ryan does. You don't have to do what John does. I don't actually want like little clones of me. I'm not out here going, hey guys, be like me. My way is the best way. I'm here to help you get whatever the best way is for you. And this is a false dichotomy, though. You don't have to be. Your choices aren't incel, right? Or black pill incel or male feminist. Those aren't your only choices. You know what I mean? And so, like, which one would I rather have you have? I just would rather have you be happy. So whatever that means, you have to decide what that is for you, bro. That's it. That's the difference between guys here on Rule Zero and a lot of people on the internet trying to take your money and really not offer you anything of value. They're just trying to inspire, indignation, inspire anxiety. So you watch them more and you follow them more, and they're not interested in, or they're trying to grift their way of my way is the way to be. I don't know. I can't say my way is the way to be for everybody or anybody. In fact, we're here just to help you guys get what you want. And if you watch any of our channels, none of us are saying be like me necessarily. We're saying be like you. At the end of the day, I would think that's a safe assumption anyway. So, yeah, be better. Right, just be better. Be better. Yeah. All overall. So. Anyway,
women coming in, I'm gonna push back on you. This women coming in here, I think, is the worst thing ever. It's not gonna work for multiple reasons. Look, any girl who's sympathetic towards the red pill or likes it probably doesn't know what they're doing. And it's not. And I'm not saying this because chicks are stupid and guys are awesome. None of that. No, it's a very simple thing. The human species has thrived based on male sacrifice for female provision. We protect the women because women make the babies, and then we carry on the species. Worked great when we were sitting in the savannas fighting off lions and tigers, because you only need one guy to knock up 10 chicks, and then you can repopulate. But if you only got 2 chicks left, your tribe's done. So once you start talking about male self-interest, there's an instinctive dislike for it, because it's like going against your genes. It's like trying to tell people that sugar's bad for you. Like, we all know it's bad for you, but you tell somebody to stop eating sugar, they're going to get pissed off at you, especially the fat fucks. There's no way to look at male self-interest and expect that women are going to accept it. They're not. They will when it's abstract, but they're not when it's right in front of them. They get mad, they get freaked out, whatever. You just have to accept that. Yes, Virginia, you do have to be an asshole, but because you're going out for your best interest, and that's fine. Because the girl that ends up showing enough value for your life that you decide to wife her up or do whatever you do, doesn't matter. Keep her, harems, whatever your organization is for the family unit or relationship unit. She's going to be okay because she's proven her worth. She provides value for you, and of course you're going to provide value back. You know, why would you not be good to people who are good to you, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, she knows if she's not good to you, well, then you have other options. You can go elsewhere. It's kind of like keeping everybody acting right. Like that concept of high fences make good neighbors. It's like that.
Sure.
Top tier dude, I can get a replacement for you, which is why I'll never have to, you know?
Yeah.
And then having conversations, talking. The men's rights organization has tried talking since the fucking 70s. And they've been building awareness for 50 years and not a fucking thing has changed except for like they're still crying about the same issues that Herb Goldberg complained about in 1976 is the problem with men or whatever he wrote.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't mind women. Women are fine. Ones that I meet that are nice are nice. The ones that I meet that are bitchy are kind of bitches. But they're not red-pilled, and they can't be red-pilled. And if you're following them for advice, realize they either A, don't know what they're talking about, or they're pretending they like it because they want you to like them. So just don't.
Yeah.
In fact, most of the guys here are useless too anyway. We already have like an information asymmetry, or what the hell's the word for it? Guys don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and they run their fucking mouths.
True.
It's already bad enough.
True.
And I think I'm the one who's like probably done the most men's coaching like consistently since 2019. And I could tell you this, like from watching multiple red pill content creators, right? The large majority of these girls just don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I saw one idiot say, guys, if you're from ages 18 to 30, don't pursue women, just work on leveling up. I was just like, are you missing a chromosome? Are you like,
that's
like
terrible
you
advice.
have full blown autism?
Yeah.
And not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know, like,
I mean, that's fine, but still, it's bad advice. Yeah,
it's terrible advice. But the thing is this: people come to these places to get information from us because they don't know better, and some of these guys will take this information and run with it. Like, you know, I'm not throwing any shade. You know, I love the Fresh and Fit podcast. But one of these guys came to me. He's a white guy living out, I think, in New Mexico. And he says, I'm never going to make it in life because every woman that I've seen on the Fresh and Fit podcast has said she's only attracted to black men. And I was just like, you know, and he really believed this. This is not a joke. He really believed this. And he thought he was screwed. I was just like, Jesus Christ. So, and the thing is, out of all the people talking these red pill platitudes, women are probably the least educated because every content creator that I've out there been seeing talking their points, they're literally just parroting Rollo's work or shit they've seen. You know, they can't be like us from like, well, let me tell you this one time I went out and I fucked this bitch, right? They can just sit there and talk about, well, one time I met this guy and it just felt good and I had sex with him. Like, great. So what lesson am I taking away from this? So I think that this space for the guys who want to improve, it needs to remain men only. Okay, like when I do my conferences and when we do the in real life meetups, the dynamic changes when a woman is present. It just it's irrefutable.
Absolutely, 100%.
And it's not pure. I mean, you're in the military. I mean, both of you guys are in the military.
Yes,
you have seen dudes change.
100%.
Like a 5 out of 10 chick walks in the room like, oh, hey, baby, or you know, you just see.
No, they all behave different.
You see the weaklings of the group, quite frankly.
It's instinct. Well, it's an instinctual thing. And you can't go away from your instincts. You can just direct them in a productive place. As soon as a woman enters a male space, men change their behaviors, unless, of course, they're aware. But then now they're intentionally trying to not change their behaviors, which is then changing their behaviors. You see, you can't get away from a behavioral change. You can direct your behavior to respond better than maybe somebody else would respond, but you can't get around the fact that there will be a behavioral change when you drop a woman into a space. which is, and the same could be said when you drop a man into a female space, which is why I think it's good that there are female spaces for women, men's spaces for men, and then intergender spaces for both. And that's not really a hard concept, but women want to invade the male space to have control over male decisions because we're the stronger physically and in a lot of ways mentally of the species when it comes to leadership and all that. And so in order to control, the social fabric, they have to use, we'll say, manipulation. They have to use persuasion. They have to use social, the social environment in order to steer men to make the decisions that they want. And so you'll see them always trying to do that. It's instinct. And the other thing about female dating coaches, red pill, that stuff, I'm not going to say here nor there whether I think I don't really, I'm pretty neutral on it. I think that it's bad if the individuals you sitting there is following somebody that isn't going to give you good advice or help you, then that's bad for you. But there's a lot of people that are going to give you bad advice out there, men and women. So whatever. But here's the thing with women. Okay, part of their instinct is to have a cognitive dissonance and a lack of awareness of what they respond to in the sexually. It's just part of their instinct. This is why things like Stockholm Syndrome, women are more susceptible to that, right? For example, to be unaware, and it makes sense because if a woman was aware and said, every now and then I think I like slave boy over there to maybe lick my vagina, the guy who runs the harem,
I hope she doesn't word it like that.
is gonna be like, wait a second, you said fucking what? And then she's getting stoned out in the marketplace, right? Women had to hide their sexual proclivities and their sexual, fantasies and ideas from the general public or risk being shamed or harmed. And so the ones that could have a cognitive dissonance for what they would sexually respond to survived. The ones that couldn't have that would get caught up and possibly killed. And so we're a product of women who respond sexually but don't know what they're responding to. And when I've coached men and women. I've had quite a few female clients compared to most guys who are men's coaches, right? I mean, I've had a lot of female clients. A lot of what I'm doing in session is helping them to become aware of what they're responding to, because they're sitting in a session and they're going, okay, I know this is the stuff I want because this is the stuff that's going to be good for me. Well, why am I dating this guy? Why did I have sex with that guy? And why did I get caught up in this ex-boyfriend? Like, why am I making bad choices, basically, right? Because they're literally not aware of why they're being drawn to certain choices. And so they're not unable to direct their choices to be more productive.
And Paul, wouldn't that lead to like a greater defense in the sense of not trusting red pill dating coaches?
Oh, absolutely.
Because females in general, I believe, and I would like both of your guys' opinions on this, but I truly believe when it comes to men and women have very, very low self-awareness, like extremely low.
They can. Yeah. Most, and because it's instinctual for them to have low self-awareness. There are certain individual women that are outliers. There are certain individual women who work on that self-awareness, but you think about it, they're not really trained even to work on self-awareness because they have the most power and when they have the least level of maturity. That 18-year-old girl, 18 to 21-year-old girl has the most power in the sexual marketplace with the least amount of maturity or cognitive development, that she'll have in her whole life. So where a guy has the least amount of power, when you're 18 as a dude, you don't have a lot of power. Even if you're the Chad, you're kind of like trying to figure shit out. Like, I got to figure this out. I got to figure that out. You don't have flocks of women running to help you. Maybe 1% of guys do. I don't know, but most guys don't. Most guys have to crawl out of, basically being at the bottom in terms of any level of respect or authority from 18 to 21. And it's not till they start coming into their own by 30, 31, 32, 35, right? If they do the right things. So a guy is working on himself and his self-awareness because he's not getting the response and the respect. He has to earn it. Whereas women, they're just getting that because of their genetic, ability to have a baby, right? Their hotness, their cuteness, their feminine behavior, whatever, they're getting it because of their youth and fertility capabilities for free, essentially, without having to do any behavior changes. So when they're 28 years old and they're realizing the impending doom of 30, this is why it's an epiphany stage. They go, oh, fuck, maybe I need to start making better choices. And that's when they start learning self-awareness. They start much later than we do on the self-awareness piece most of the time. And that's why it's not to sit here and go, women, you're not capable or smart, get in the kitchen. It's just like, but really get in the kitchen.
That's
great
advice.
It's great advice. But no, but it's because they're by nature of the social environment and the nature of the environment that we are in any place that they go to, they are late starters when it comes to this stuff. But then the other thing is they're at the most risk, right? They're at the highest level of risk of a lot with bad sexual choices. I make a bad sexual choice. I'm embarrassed about it. Of maybe a chick I went home with. She makes a bad sexual choice. She could be actually physically harmed, raped, end up with a baby, and now have this whole abortion thing debate comes into play. There's a lot greater consequences that they had in our evolutionary past and even now today. So they feel like they have to be the experts and they have to have female intuition and that they know what's going on and it's because they're afraid. They have that arrogance out of fear that if I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, I'm screwed. And so they play the role. And then there's plenty of simps that'll support it too. Like, oh yeah, you're right, girl. You're smart.
Paul, you have like about 6 or 7 super chats. I don't know.
One in there. No, the other ones I read. I got one more in the queue right now I need to read.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. I'll get to that too. We'll talk about this one because yes, isn't frame just another form of manipulation? I hold frame, but I know I manipulate her. So I have different. No, it's not. I have different definitions.
I could give a concise answer.
Yeah, you could. Ryan's take is going to be different too. I know Ryan has one.
In my opinion, when I say hold frame, it's establishing boundaries, establishing your perspective on the world, and don't let her manipulate you out of it. And and they're gonna test these boundaries, okay? And you got to check them because they're testing for your strength when they're testing these boundaries. And the thing is, I always say this: if you fail these boundary tests by them, the intensity of the test and the frequency of the test is going to continue to increase. So you definitely don't want to be falling down and not having a backbone, which the majority of people these days have no backbone. They have no boundaries. They don't know how to say no. And that's a big problem, societally speaking, in the West. So you have to learn to hold frame and have boundaries. And this is why when you're a guy who does have frame and do have boundaries, and you'll casually meet a girl who's just very disrespectful to you, she's acting like that because she has a history of a bunch of men in her past not holding frame and establishing healthy boundaries. So she thinks she can get away with this.
Yeah, that's correct. Yep. So I'm gonna read this one super here. Found you guys at the beginning of COVID, got red pill, got in shape, doubled my income. Awesome, bro. Just want to say thank you. Look forward to meeting you one day. Hey, we go to meetups. John does the hot dude con thing when he does a tour. Maybe get on some of his stuff and we can actually meet. We try to meet up with Ryan. He'll have you killed because he lives in a high rise and with lots of security. He doesn't like people. Me, I'm doing a meetup with only my mastermind group only though. So if you're in that group, you can do meetups for that group. So that's things we're doing. And one more here, Donovan is Morpheus. Absolutely. I don't know Donovan that well, but I like him on the internet.
He's got some great takes on Love Island. I'll give him that.
Yeah, he's got some good takes and stuff, man. I'm all right with him. But anyways, all right. So Ryan's view on the manipulation thing is I've heard you talk about it. So why don't you share?
Well, yeah, manipulation. Everything is manipulation. So I'm tired of hearing everybody talking about manipulation like it's inherently bad. Your baby's crying at you, so you pick up the baby. The baby doesn't die. Is that manipulation? Yes. Was it bad? No. Marketing. You see a Tonka truck on TV and they're having kids playing with it. It's manipulating the kids. Does he get the truck? He's happy. Fine. Everything is manipulation. A girl crying, manipulation. A guy who's horny and attractive, running game, manipulation. Manipulation isn't bad per se. The bad thing is obvious manipulation. When you're talking to a girl because you want her to do something, but you don't want to say you want to do it, so you hint at it, that covert contract shit. Yeah, that rubs people the wrong way. But that's not because manipulation is bad. That's because people just inherently distrust manipulative autism. So yeah, if you're a guy who's attractive, you got options, you want to sleep with a girl, you make it known you find her attractive and you want to sleep with her, and you'll keep your mouth shut so she doesn't look like a slut to her friends the next day. She'll sleep with you, and you're manipulating her into doing that, but she's okay with that. And that's really the big thing. Are you okay with what they're trying to manipulate you on, and are you getting the requisite value for allowing yourself to be manipulated? That's it. Maybe your girlfriend doesn't want you to, or she wants you to be like loyal to her. So before you go on a business trip to wherever, she blows you fucking 3 times the night before. Don't forget what you got waiting at home for you. Manipulates you not to cheat with a girl in Iceland or wherever the fuck you fly to. Was that bad? Ask any married guy. No, not at all. But that's good. That's because she wants to keep you. So she uses her girl powers to remind you that she's worth keeping. It's the way the world's supposed to work. So when you hear guys saying, oh, I don't want to manipulate, that's just wrong. It's the same as like those guys that want to friend zone a girl first before fucking with her. Be honest. It's refreshing. It's nice. Hey, yeah. I'm the honest guy. I don't know you from a hole in the ground. I don't know if I like you yet. I want to sleep with you. But we're going to talk and hang out to make sure that I'm not dating a crazy chick that's going to kill my dogs when I pass out. And that's where Frame is too. And this, to tie it all together for Frame, I think the best way to describe it is like a book. If you have no frame, somebody will always describe like, oh, she this, her this, women think this, oh, ladies do this, oh, the Democrats do this and this. Frame is I. Everything about Frame is I. Everything you describe is as if it's the life story and you're the protagonist. My girl was acting bitchy, so I left. That's Frame. Why is she such a bitch to me? She really wants me to leave, doesn't she? That's no frame. And it's this, you can have the same actions. It just means a guy understands his place in the world, his, like John was saying, his standards, his ethics, what he will put up with, what he won't put up with, but he has no expectations that people need to accommodate that. They don't. And so when you talk about, like, when everybody says do the work, that's the work. When you don't expect things from people and they don't deliver and you're unhappy about that, there's something you can do about that. Girl doesn't fuck you? Well, why isn't another girl not available to fuck? There's your work right there. Go attract more women. Your wife doesn't want to fuck you? That's fine. Go find other women who will. Leave your wife. That's fine. There's work to be done. But none of it revolves around other people trying to do anything for you. And that's how you build abundance. You always take about aloof. That's why aloof is attractive too, by the way. Basically, I need this guy to stick around, and he's not going to stick around for any reason other than I'm doing something nice for him. And so if they like you, they do nice things for you, and that makes them feel nice because they got what they want when they did what they had to do. Welcome to the world, fellas. It's part of growing up, you know? Does that answer your question well? Who's the chat for?
I don't remember, but yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm going to go through a few more of these. So mass abortion happened when the jab mandate came out. Most people are sterile and can't have kids anyway. Don't know it. Okay, well, thank you for the super chat and the comments. I'm maybe anti-meat propaganda another time later. I'll in a second. I don't know. Talk about anti-meat propaganda. Okay, that covers the super.
Is that the eating bugs shit?
I don't know what the anti-meat propaganda is, but I so I'm not one to comment much on that. But all right, so here's my thing on the manipulation aspect of it. This is how I've kind of categorized and look at things. And Ryan and I are in agreement. I just use a lot. And I think here, I think I use different terms though. So everyone's influencing each other, whether they want to or not. Just that some people are better at influencing than others. When you start learning skills at being a better influencer to people in your lives, that can cause people who aren't as good at those skills to maybe get critical about that, or maybe get, he's being manipulative, or watch him, he's deceptive or something. So I'm going to make the distinctions for what the differences are. But no, they're just saying that because they don't have the power over you that they would like to have if you are less good at being influential. You see what I'm saying? And so we're all influencing. So when you're learning skills at that, whether it's pickup or frame skills or the skills that I teach, and any one of these guys in different ways teach, you're just getting better at doing something that everyone's trying to do anyway. All right. Mm-hmm. And so there's nothing wrong with that. Now, how to do it ethically, though, that's a question. And that's a really important one, because especially in like the mastermind group that I got, we're working on persuasion skills that could really be used for bad shit in the wrong hands. It's true. You can persuade people to do things that they shouldn't do, don't want to do, lots of things. And that would be bad for them, right? And that you could be, if you were to be like dishonest or that kind of a person, you could magnify that trait. And so you have to be, and it's not, once you start learning how to influence, you have to have this distinction, because you can screw up. You can influence somebody to do something they really probably shouldn't have, and you just weren't aware of it, or weren't thinking about it like that. And so here's how to have the distinction. I look at persuasion, manipulation, and deception as three different things. So we're going to do a little definitions here, okay? Deception is when you take away a person's right to free choice because you're basically misrepresenting information. So they don't have the accurate information or all the information to make a free choice. So if you tell a girl, for example, that you're, I don't know, a doctor that makes $1 million a year, and you're really work at Taco Bell, and she sleeps with you, that was an outright deception. Right? Now, I don't know who does that, but that's an outright deception. Part of her decision in sleeping with you wasn't thinking you were something, and you outright lied or omitted information. You lied through omission or lied through commission, and she was making a choice based on information that wasn't true. And so you don't want to do that. Okay, that's a no-go, because that's going to get you in trouble and harm you, right? Manipulation is a little different. Manipulation is where you present all of the information that's true, but you do it in such a way that it removes her choice. So in other words, you're presenting the information in a way where, okay, if she had free choice and her own sovereignty, then she would be making a different choice, but you persuaded her so hard with your skills that she literally went along with something that wasn't good for her, or wasn't something that she really would agree with if she was not being so heavily persuaded. So that's where you have to be careful, right? And then there's persuasion, which is where you're just influencing somebody to make a decision that you want, and that they're making a free choice to be there, right? To do that. And so when I say persuade, I don't mean like convincing, let me explain it to you, but I'm just talking just behaviorally. If I show up and I'm like the alpha attractive guy, that's a form of persuasion for her to want to sleep with me. Even though I'm not trying to convince her, I'm being the attractive version of myself that she would want to sleep with. She's making a free choice to do so because that is me. It's not deceptive. It's just that version of me. I'm not showing up as the, I don't know, tired. I just got out of the field. My balls smell like fucking, fungus or something. And I need to clip my toenails to the date. You know what I mean? And then she's like, well, this is me. I don't want to manipulate you. This is who I am. Guys who put like gross, shitty photos on their dating apps and wonder why they don't get hits. And they go, but this is who I am. No. You want to persuade, you want to influence, you want to present like best versions of you, things like that. But you just don't cross over into manipulation territory or deception territory, and you're fine. And frame is just the way you and her see the world. It's really the frame of the relationship, which you lead, and you're at the helm of that. That's all that is. And you're influencing her to be there, but she's making her free choice to be there. And that's when you're doing that, then you're not doing anything unethical or bad. If you end up doing unethical bad shit like covert contracts and things that Ryan talked about, it's just going to blow the relationship up anyway. It'll blow up later, because she wasn't making free choice to be there. And then when she finally realizes the choices she made, now she's really upset.
I was just thinking, I totally lied to get my girl. I told her I was an accountant. For the first 3 years she knew me, she thought I was an accountant until she found out I was in the military.
That's really fucking funny. But it worked.
I think
out,
I made more money than an accountant too, so it was like the weirdest lie. I was just like, I don't want to talk about work. And any girl who knew about rank, because that's the problem. You ask girls about that, they're like, "Oh, do you know Chief this guy?" And you're like, "Ah, fuck." Last thing you want is a girl that knows military rank. It's like the worst red flag out there.
Oh yeah, no.
Lie if you have to, fellas.
she's done her math problem on the benefits.
Is it really that bad of an idea? Is it really that bad if the guy is manipulating the girl if it's for the benefit of both of them? Because women manipulate men all the time for their benefits in the relationship. So I just think, like, you know, why is it so bad if a guy? Why is it so bad if a guy does it? But as soon as as soon as a girl does it, it's like it's excusable, you know, because girls, dude, listen, bro. Everything that woman does when she shows up is manipulation. The lying's a manipulation. The makeup's a manipulation. Her personality's a manipulation. Yep. The way she lies to you about how many people she's had sex with you is a form of manipulation. You guys who ask this kind of question, you have to realize you're still not fully unplugged. There's still like a naivety to you, expecting some utopia perfect world out there, and it's not real. Like you'd have to understand, like, it's a dark and evil world, and one day you're gonna die, and there's no fucking happy ending to this shit. So just get along, live your life as best as you can, and stop like chasing like this kind of fantasy perfect land that you think like, once I make $1 million, then all my problems are gonna go away. Once I have like 10% body fat, then all the women are going to come. Once I get fully red pill, once my red pill is Paul or Ryan or MLD, then like I will just walk through this life without another.
It's like a video game where you hit a level or something. It's really
you hit level 99 and just slam the world. Like, no, it doesn't work like that.
Not really. Yeah,
it's when I became a millionaire, I got way more problems. I've never been sued before. You know?
Now you have something they can come after.
You got people coming after you. You know, I got people looking at me a certain way when I'm wearing gold chains and Rolexes in the United States. I got to keep a gun on me at all time when I'm over there. You know, I'm a target now. Then I was in the airport. I was flying from Tokyo, and I flew from Tokyo to Okinawa to Naha Airport, and some kid walked up to me. He's like, "What's up, MLD?" And I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, I thought everybody was in America. You know, he was a little starstruck, but you know, there are problems that come with, you know, what we said. My mentor told me this is his new level, new devil. You know what I mean? So as soon as you level up, more problems come your way, bro. People
have better and bigger problems. That's what I tell people. You're not going to eliminate problems. Just like get better and bigger problems.
Like, one thing, like when I had my ex, right, and I was dating her, and then I started becoming successful, and I didn't realize like success terrifies women, like puts them in like this crazy sense of like, oh my god, this guy's definitely gonna leave me. And I had to deal with her like kind of trying to sabotage the business, sabotaging my health, you know, those double scoops of rice. And you know, it's just there's no, like, you got to get used to the chaos of life. I had a bad vertigo attack and my ear was screwed up 2 weeks ago. I ended up in the hospital. I never even thought that was going to happen. I thought I was dying from brain cancer. I thought I was having like a tumor or something. So, you know, it's not a tumor. It's not a rosy, pink, perfect world out there. That's very high level, a blue pill delusion. You got to really like nip that in the bud.
Yeah. Well, and I will say it just for your own framework of your relationships and your own, let's say, mental sanity and serenity. The more congruent you are when you're dealing with your chick and into maybe persuasion, influential area, and the less into manipulation area you can be, the better. Because again, sometimes it still is a free choice if she complies and follows your leadership, even though she doesn't agree, you know, because she's choosing to follow your leadership anyway and get those consequences, even though, you know, she may not fully agree with it. And that's okay. I tell guys a lot that guys are too busy trying to make her understand. When you're doing that, you're qualifying to her. Who's in charge if you're going, oh no, let me explain it a different way, because if only you understood, then you would agree. You know, no, she's obviously the one who's in charge if you are having to do that. If you are saying like, hey, this is what we're going to do, and she goes, I don't like it, and you say, okay, well, this is my decision, but if you got some input, I'll take it. Let me, you know, if you need to know, you need some information from me, I'll give it to you, but this is where I'm going with this. You know, she has to seek the information from you. She has to seek understanding. What you really are doing and looking for is compliance. And that, you know, from compliance, a lot of times understanding happens and then agreement. most of the time, because what happens is they're doing the thing like, I don't agree with this boundary, but I guess I'm going to do it. Right. And then it turns into, okay, it's his point of view. It's his thing. I get why he does it, because she's not going to keep doing something if, that she hates and doesn't want to do. She has to rationalize why she's doing it, and starts with trying to seek understanding. Women are handicapped when it comes to they're solipsistic. So they're handicapped. They're crippled when it comes to empathy. Sometimes they don't want to see it from your perspective. And so, but if they're just having to do it and comply, and they trust you enough in the frame enough to comply, then they'll seek understanding, and then it starts there. Then from there, it can turn into agreement. And I've watched that happen in a lot of relationships, mine and others, people I've coached. They go along with it, and then they're like, okay, well, it's not my thing, it's his, but here's why. And then that turns into explaining it to their friend or their mother and defending the position. You know what I mean? And so that's the track, not here. Let me get your permission. Let me make you understand it. Let me explain it a different way. It's like, no. And so you're seeking that compliance, and it's her free will to be there with you and to comply or not. And so as long as that's where you're at, you don't have to do a bunch of manipulation and gymnastics to get her bought into something that she really doesn't agree with, which then turns into a blow up later. You know what I'm saying? You don't really want to go down that road. It's just going to create you complications in your relationships. And a lot of relationship management is not fucking up to begin with. And so this is where you want to be at. I'm going to answer this question and a little quick plug, and then I won't have to do one later. Yeah. So I had to close enrollment because it involves one-on-one time. And so we're going to reopen enrollment really soon under new pricing tiers and new stuff. So just get on my email list for anything. I also have pickup skills for the busy man. That's going to come out. It's a smaller little course that's going to come out. Do the enrollment is going to start the 15th of July. So those are things to look forward to. If you're on my email list, you'll get the early bird announcement for it, because both of those things will fill up, and then I have to cut off enrollment. And so just so you know, okay, so that's what's going on. If you guys are interested in any of my stuff, pay attention to the channel. Of course, be subscribe to everybody's channel. In fact, it helps us. And then get on my email list. Right now, there's no link in the description of this video, but I'll put it in after we get off the air. And all my other videos have a link for you just to get on that list. I don't spam you or anything like that either. All right. So anyways, we're kind of getting towards the close at 1 o'clock. I don't know if you guys want to plug anything now, just because they open that up, and then we can continue bullshit until the end if you want. What do you guys?
No, I'm just having fun with you, man.
Yeah.
They know where to find me. Fuck it.
Yeah. Get on Ryan's channel. Buy Ryan's book.
I started little short size clips channel on Instagram.
Oh, good.
I just hit 1,000 followers. It's called Interview with a Man on Instagram. It's like 15-second to 1 minute clips with captions on there, where highlights from my show that I do 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I live stream. I'll be back for Intergame July on my channel. We're going to be focusing mainly on Intergame July, and then enrollment for the Masculine Empowerment Network, which will be at the end of July. And looks like I will be back in the United States in August. I'm going to go to be on Valuetainment Money with Adam Sosnick. They've been wanting me to come out there. So I just got back from the United States. I was doing Fresh and Fit. So you guys will see me back on Fresh and Fit, and newly appearing on Valuetainment Money. Probably will be on Sterling Cooper's channel as well while I'm down in the States. So everybody seems to like.
Well, you might see me there then too, man. What you got to tell me the dates that we get off the air. I might show up and hang out with you for a little bit.
Yeah, come, dude. Well, let's
just roll up and do some shit.
Let's hold these chicks accountable on Fresh.
Let's hold them accountable.
It's hilarious to watch them squirm away, man. It is just truly hilarious. Then going back to just the whole thing, because I just want to I'm the guy that you guys come to if you actually want to become the man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you want to maximize money, muscles, game, frame. And I just want to really emphasize the easiest self-improvement trick that you can literally implement today. And that is cutting off toxic people out of your life. That is the quickest way to increase the quality of your life, because I think so many people are just used to negativity and toxicity in their life. And honestly, nobody is safe, bro. If your mom is negative, your dad is negative, your girlfriend, The guy who has the girlfriend who is running around complaining about Roe v. Wade, bro, that's a liability waiting to happen. And you come to me when the ship blows up. I'll be here to, tell you I told you so. And then you know what I mean? But like, that's just my heart is in helping men, and like that's why I've been so successful, because I really truly care about those guys who want to make a change in their life. And my business problem that I have is like, so many guys come to me and then they learn game, they get money, they get fitness, they're so happy, and they just disappear. But that's cool, because they come to
yeah, you want to work yourself out of a job in a way with them. That's your success.
They come to my lessons, they come to my academy, they learn, and then they go out and they have a great life. And that's my goal. And I just want to tell people that it's totally possible. My life is surreal. I'm out here in the middle of the East China Sea on this tropical island, living the dream that I imagined when I was writing it down in my notebook, 4 years ago. Paul knows in great detail the success that I have. And it's totally possible. That's my thing. I just don't want us to be a show that we're just sit around, bitch, and give you guys doom and gloom, which we're not. And today's episode's not that at all. But no. I really just want you guys to take actionable steps to really increase the quality of your life, to get the life that you want, because life is finite, man. Going to that hospital 2 weeks ago really scared the shit out of me and made me really want to just do better in life. Because I had intense vertigo, and it was from the airplane, and I had a sinus infection from all the traveling, plus the air pressure, and it screwed up my right eardrum, and the whole, my perception of reality was twisting for 12, 14 hours. I literally thought I was dying. And I went there, I got a CT scan, cost me $15, love Japan. And
nice.
And I got better, thank God. But it really just made me, I think a lot of guys don't really have those realizations, especially the younger guys. It doesn't start hitting you till you 28, 29. But you really just got to do your best to live your best life, because it's finite, and it's just so worth it to put all your chips in your own basket. You know what I mean? To bet the house on yourself every single time. Stop trying to save everybody. Just save yourself. And those who are worthy will realize your value, and they can come along on the journey. And once you realize they're not worthy, toxic, dude, cut the fat every quarter, cut the fat every year. Do what you got to do, but make it happen.
Yeah. Hell yeah. You know what? I think that's a good place to close if nobody else has anything else. So let's do it, man. All right. Thanks, guys, for showing up. You guys are awesome.
Me, man. Appreciate it.
Hell yeah. Always a pleasure, bro. Always a pleasure to have you. And you guys watching, thanks for the support. And again, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on everybody's channels. All right. It helps us. All right. Take care.